Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Uncovered with Nick and Femi. It's you. What was that? It's you.
I didn't say that.
That's what I was saying. I was like, what did I just say?
Yeah,
it's just, yeah.
That's it. I was like, what is this guy talking about?
I'm having a stroke live on air. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
No, what's going on? It's your boy Femi here, and I'm here with, we always bag him out. You guys bag him out in the comments.
Gosh, wow. What comments?
And it's
I've never seen anyone be bagged out in the comments. Okay.
Today we're gonna make it a special day just for Nick.
Fantastic.
So Nick, what is going on, bro? Introduce yourself. What is going on?
Wow, Femi, what happened? That's crazy. No, that's amazing, bro. Thank you. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Neezy.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to finally say my name. And it's been like 20 episodes, and I've never been
37.
Yeah, but 20 episodes where I have. Oh, have you done it every single time? No, there was times I used to be able to introduce myself.
Oh, okay.
But
I need to go back and delete those episodes.
Now, what's happening, bro? How you been?
I've been blessed, bro. I've been really, really good, bro. I've been chilling, living life, ready. Doing a lot of shit,
Yes,
as you know. So it's been an exciting process for us over the last couple of days, weeks, months. So, just really ready to get into it.
Yeah, 100%. And like you already known for the previous episode, this is going to be like a continuation of stress. Beautiful. Obviously, off the back of like what's going on right now, like it's just a lot of people are stressing, and we really want to make sure that this podcast, this platform that we have, is used to be able to inspire and empower you guys to be able to help manage and alleviate your stress. So, what are we actually chatting about today, Femi?
Great question, Nick, and I think that needs a very, very special intro. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our sound guy is excellent. He knows exactly what I need when I
Who's
need
the sound guy?
Huh?
Who's the sound guy?
Sorry?
Yeah.
Anyway. No, look, today we're going to be talking about something that I think is really, really important, but it's a lot easier said than done. But we're going to try to make it as practical as possible. But the most important thing from this one is more, we just want to put it to your forefront and assist you in taking those first steps to making that change, right? Mm-hmm. So it's about the effects of stress, like what actually are the effects of stress? Because we all kind of know that it's bad, but how bad and what does that mean for you? Is it killing me? Is it actually killing me? Or is it just one of those things that like, I probably shouldn't stress?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And how do we kind of like how can we have a simple tweak that can actually make a massive difference in the long scheme of things, right? So we're going to be talking about that. So I guess the first thing I want to ask you, man, is just explain to the people kind of how dangerous is stress? Is stress dangerous? Like, is it actually dangerous? I think everybody's first reaction is like, duh, but like
how dangerous actually is stress.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So talk to the people about that.
Yeah, well, I think like stress is incredibly dangerous, and that's just putting it out there, like very simple, like it is. Because the truth is that if you look at a lot of like, especially heart issues in particular, a lot of the reasons why people either have high blood pressure or there's like increase in maybe hormones, cortisol levels and all those things is due to stress. There's an increase in stress. People always, when you speak to like doctors or any type of health practitioners, a lot of the kind of lifestyle questions they ask you are kind of centered around your stress, what kind of things you're exposed to, because a lot of these things are triggers for a lot of serious health issues and complications. And those are the things that we try to avoid. And that's why it's really, really important, I think, as a starting off point, to understand that stress is something that can actually lead to a lot of complicated health illnesses. And that's why it's so important that we actually get to understand why stress is something that we need to get in control of. Like, I can't remember the stat. There was something, do you know the stat about how much percentage of stress leads to complicated health illnesses? Like, I was reading it one time ago, but
no, I wouldn't know off the top of my head what that is. But I think that the important thing to also note as well is that like, not all stress is bad stress. There needs to be a certain level of stress that is actually essential for people. Is essential in terms of like for us to be able to have a healthy mental state, there needs to be a certain level of health of stress for us to be able to have high resilience, tolerance, capacity, all of those things. Because if we don't have test or stress, then we won't be able to kind of we won't be able to have a sound mental health, right? So not every stress. It's like, oh my God, every little thing that is slightly stressful is bad and I need to be a monk living in the mountaintop. It doesn't need to be like that. You know what I mean? Like, you need to have a little bit of stresses in your life for you to be able to handle and build your resilience over time, because resilience is something that needs to be honed and strengthened and re-strengthened and re-strengthened throughout your lifetime. It's not something that you had when you were 15 and then you therefore will have it for the rest of your life. That's not how it is. With ongoing stressful situations, you are then able to build upon those layers that you've already built prior.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that it's like the example of like when you go to the gym, right? It's like when you're training, you're overloading your muscles, you're putting a certain level of stress on your muscles. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing, because that's what's actually allow you to grow. It's going to allow you to get the muscle, allow you to get the results that you're after.
Yeah.
And so the beautiful example of how you were talking about resilience and capacity and your tolerance to it. It's like, yeah, in order for me to increase my capacity, I need to be able to stress. But if it's chronic and it's like I'm out of control with it, if it's not actually premeditated that I'm trying to go through this to actually build up, but instead it's something that's like chronic, I'm out of control, I'm pinballing everywhere, I don't know what's going on, then that's when we know that we're in a danger zone. And that's when we know that this is actually very dangerous for us in terms of a physiological perspective on our health.
Exactly. So from a physiological perspective, I think the main thing that you'll see that is dangerous about stress, besides there's a million things that stress affects your sleep, obviously it affects your mental health, can make you more anxious, make you depressed, can lead to suicidal ideation. That's super serious, right? And we're going to talk about that, but I'm talking mostly just from a physiological perspective. So what does it look like in your body? So obviously when you're stressed, there's a response in your body that your arteries so the arteries throughout your body and in your heart, they start to constrict, right? So that means that there's less blood being able to be pumped throughout your body, which is, read a book, man. You know that's bad. You know what I mean? Yeah. So basically, long story short, I'm not trying to give you guys a biology lesson. I'm just trying to say you have a basic level of what I'm trying to say, right? That's dangerous. That's dangerous for yourself, right? You need to have your body, your vessels need to be able to flow, and blood needs to be able to pump throughout your body throughout your life, right?
Yeah.
So if that's what's happening to your stressful situations and those are constantly happening, then you're constantly putting a lot of pressure on your heart. And your heart is a muscle. The more you overwork it, what's going to happen? It's obviously going to fatigue. And you only get one.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I mean, some people get two. You get a heart transplant, but
ideally, you don't want to go through that.
You don't want to be in that situation.
Yeah, you don't trust me with this. You don't want to be
it's
sticky. But and I think like just something that I wanted to note is that it's crazy when you start to understand. Like I think the important note that I found, especially as we were studying in nursing, is that it's crazy that with our body, like it's so amazing, and you notice that every little thing, they all work together. As in, like, if you're stressful, it's not just separate on its own, like, oh, I'm just stressed and it's not affecting me elsewhere, but it all kind of plays a role. Like you're saying, if you're stressed, then I lack sleep. If I lack sleep, what does that mean? If my arteries start constricting, what does that mean? They all play a role. It's like, it's a massive like circle. And it's really interesting to realize that, like, or to have the awareness, the fact that like, it's not just it's not separate. It's not a separate issue. This is a whole issue that I'm dealing with, and I need to get on top of that, or it's going to lead to those type of events that we were speaking about.
Exactly. And it's very interesting because sometimes we feel overwhelmed and powerless with stress.
Yeah.
But there's a very interesting study that was done. I think it was in Harvard, right? And they did like I think it was a long-term longitudinal study, right? So basically the way that it worked is that they had a group of people that had similar lives.
Yeah.
So they had a group of people that had similar lives, worked in similar industries, similar family setup, no major life events up to that point, right? And what they did is that they asked them, do you think that life is stressful? Do you not think that life is stressful? Do you think that, you know what I mean? And even people that are listening to this, you can ask yourself, like, would you say that life is low levels of stress, moderate levels of stress, or highly stressful, right? And whatever you answer is between you and whatever. But people that
share it, just in case you want to.
Yeah, I mean, just share it. Do you feel like life is stressful, moderately stressful, or not stressful at all, right? And the people that answered that life was highly stressful, they came back. You know, I think let's say for argument's sake, there's two groups of them. Whichever percentage of them said yes or no, it's irrelevant. But that group of people that said they are highly stressed compared to other people, they came back after 5 or 10 years, right? And the group that said that they were highly stressed had about a 30% increased likelihood of dying. So 30 in that group, there were like the people that died compared to the people that didn't die. There was 30% higher chance that in that group that they would die.
That's massive.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. And they took out anybody that had any major life events, any stressful changes, anything like that. So they had relatively stagnant lives. They stayed the same for the same amount of time. So they started at the same point, they ended at the same point. Why were they 30% more likely to die? Why did so much more people in that group die compared to the other group? And most of them were related to cardiac issues and stress related issues, right? And what we're saying is that just the way that you perceive stress, just the way that you look at stress, just the way that you see your life can have a massive impact on how you, from a biological level, manifest that. Because you look at highly stressful situations, you look at people in the Olympics, athletes. Do you know what I mean? That's a highly stressful situation. You're in front of 90,000 people and you're representing your country and you have 10 seconds to win a gold medal or whatever's going to happen to you. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You have a family at home. You don't know how you're going to feed. You know what I mean? You got a stressful situation, right?
Yeah.
But their responses are very different because if they're operating at a high stressful point, they're not able to think right. Because when you have stress, you know, your cortisol levels go through the roof. Your IQ, they say your IQ drops by up to 50%, blah, 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 right? So they're not able, they don't have the time. They can't afford to be stressed in those situations. So what do? They have to change the way that they think. They have to change the way that they perceive that situation. That's the only way for them to be able to achieve. You talk to, if you know any successful athlete when they're in their prime, when they're actually in game mode and they know that it's a stressful situation, not one of them, I've never met one. And we know a lot of athletes. I've never met one that's like, yeah, I'm so stressed out about this.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so like nervous. I can't, oh no, I can't. Like this is way too much. I have so much on my plate. No way.
Yeah.
Game mode, they're like, I can't wait. This is exciting. Even though this is a highly stressful situation, like universal consensus would say that's a stressful situation.
Yeah.
You know, I think the third or fourth most stressful situation that was when they survey people was public speaking. Talk less of performing in front of 90,000 people. It's crazy, right?
It's insane. And it's a great point because like, it's crazy to realize, to just think about the fact that like, see the impact of how much perspective has in the way when you change your thought patterns and your associations to certain things, that it can have a massive switch in terms of your stress levels. And I think a lot of people think it's quite taboo, which is why they don't really practice it too much. But the truth is like, it's game changing. I was reading a book with Brendan Burchard about high performance habits. And these are people that obviously, you know, do athletes like you were saying, or they do public speaking, or they do like CEO executive level jobs. And it's all about like, yes, it's stressful, but it's the things that they do leading up to that event that allows them to be able to perform. It's about me changing my association with it. It's like you were saying before, it's like, instead of me thinking that this is such a stressful position to be in, I can't be in like this, what else can I look at it as? I can look at this as an opportunity that I'm excited now. This is a test for me. I get to have the honor of speaking in front of 90,000 people and of hopefully be able to change a lot of the perspectives and shifts in their life. Just like with our podcast, we're not chatting to a big audience, but you feel that little bit of pressure because it's like a lot of people are going to be listening. I want to make sure I'm conveying my message correctly and people are able to get the message from it. You could say that it's stressful, but you built up the resilience, you've built up the blessing to be able to actually deal with that situation, the association with it, which is why you can go out and perform, which is the reason why you don't view it as stressful, and then your capacity increases inevitably as part of that. Not everyone just it's not one person's less stress-free than other, just the way they were born, but it's about they've done gradual work, they've been expressed to certain different things, they've changed a lot of associations with different things to be able to allow themselves to be able to manage that stress quite effectively. Because we're not saying that it's like this is no longer stressful. We can, like you were saying, stress is there. It's always going to be there. We can't eradicate stress, but it's like we can manage it and we can change our association with it so that we don't have to deal with the 30% likelihood of dying, the 30% likelihood of experiencing cardiac related issues and all those kind of things.
And that's an extreme example. Let's look at it and just imagine how much more the smaller manifestations would be with those people. Let's not look at it. Let's not be so morbid and talk about death.
Yeah.
If we look at it just like in terms of like, how many of them are more likely to have sleep-related issues?
Yeah.
How many of them are more likely to be anxious? How many of them are more likely to be depressed, right?
Yeah.
All the shit that is like that. on some real talk, like that, it's like that those things can happen if you're stressed. You're stressed for 3 months. How easy is it for you to get anxious?
Literally.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's kind of like, we don't even have to go all the way right down to the death route. We can look at it from like right in your front door.
Yeah.
But it can happen real quickly. That's why it's important that it's like, because I know a lot of people be listening to this is like, oh, just change my perspective. Shut up. Like, how do I do that?
But I really like, just on that note, I really like the example of an extreme kind of like worst case scenario, because I think that when you know the actual extreme result, or you know what it actually leads to, then I think that most people are more likely to change or be really focused on it. Because it's like, I don't know if like a lot of people, like let's say with sugar, right? Like we know that sugar is not good for you, right? But it's like, oh, why isn't it good for you? Oh, you're going to get fat. You're going to get this. Oh, okay, whatever. I can cope with that. But maybe that people might have that same association when it comes to when we say like, oh, sleep and stuff like that. It's like, oh, that probably won't happen. Oh, who cares? I can manage that. But it's like, when you feel as death, like people are scared of death. Like people don't want to die, especially if they're young. They got visions, they got goals and stuff that they want to achieve. They're like, I don't want to end my life early. So it's like, well, you need to take that action. Like you really need to deep what we're saying, because it's serious. And this is something that we experience ourselves. We've been in nursing. We see people that have highly stressful roles and have suffered as a result of stress. So it's like, we need to be proactive about this.
Niggas trying to scare you.
I'm not scaring you, but it's like, I want you guys.
Thanks for coming to Nick's TED Talk Halloween edition.
Halloween edition.
But how is that?
Nothing.
So change. Just change,
bro, please.
No, but I get exactly what you're saying, because sometimes people take it as not that serious.
Yeah.
As it's just it's like exactly what you said. It's like something's like I can deal with that. Like I can actually deal with that.
Yeah.
But the truth is you really can't. Bro. And that's what you need to realize. Like you need to come to a realization of your own mortality, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you think that the reason why you don't change is because you think that you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Oh, 1 in 5. I have more chance of being the 4 than the 5.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the 1.
Trust me.
Trust us.
Yeah.
Like it's actually we've seen them at the worst points. Like these people are like going through highly stressful situations in their life, and they're broken. They're broken. They would have when we work in the wards, we hear so many people saying like, I would rather have, this is not to compare illnesses. That's just what it's just what they've said. Is I'd rather have cancer. I'd rather be physically sick than to be mentally unwell the way that I am right now because of this. Because sometimes you feel like there's so many issues with it, right? There's so many things that come with the mental illnesses, right? So like they feel like you do not, like if I would, and it just feels so preventable. That's a lot of the time. I was speaking to one guy that was, I can't name him obviously, but this guy was, so he was married to a political figure in Australia.
Yeah.
And he was, I'm not going to say anything, but we had encounters with him in a clinical perspective, right?
Yeah.
So, and I remember talking to him, man, and he was also political as well, in whatever capacity, he was also political. And he's like, all of the shit that I've done, all the whatever I've done and all that I've achieved and blah, 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 was not worth me to be here. All the stress that I put on and I took on wasn't worth it. I could have done the job and what I wanted to do and did it in a way that didn't stress me out.
Yeah.
But I didn't. All I wanted to do, my main concern was just get it done. Because that's what people like me do, right?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are in that position that is like, it's just in a gotta get it done mode. And they don't look after their stress. They don't look after themselves. They're coming home and they're feeling low, they're feeling whatever it is, and they're feeling panicky. They wake up like, holy shit, I got to do this again.
Yeah.
I got to do this again. I got to do this again. I got to do this again. And they're so worried. They're crying in the shower. If you watch the episode with Sarah Riley when she was in the corporate, she was so stressed out about it, so anxious about it. She was crying in the shower. She was making 6 figures, easy. It's crazy.
It is crazy. And I think that we were literally like that as well. Like I was experiencing it to a point where it's like, oh, wake up, here we go again. Oh, I don't want to be here. It's like, oh, I'm always go. And it's so crazy to realize that like we don't actually deep how much it impacts our lives. Like it literally does. And I think like one of the big things that I would advise to like anybody especially because like stress is highly something that we can manage, like we highly can, but we don't want to deal with it when when we've already placed ourselves in a highly position. We still can, but what we want to kind of do is that we want to see how we can manage it before we get to that level. And I think one of the big things that you can do to kind of help yourself with that is have a clear goal on what you actually want your life to look like. Like ask yourself that question. It's like, what is life? What do you want your life to be like? What's actually going on here? Because I think that once you understand and you just slow down for a moment, you're not going to be so like go. You're not going to be so pressured. You're not going to want to do things so crazily. You're going to be able to step back and be like, well, this is what I kind of want for my life. This is what I value about my life. And I think that's what Sarah was talking about in the podcast as well as an element of it. It's like, yeah, I'm making great income. Yes, I'm successful, but what is success? You know what I mean? Well, success isn't me feeling stressed every single day, going to running so fast paced, me doing all these things. So it's like the moment when we have a clear definition of what we want our life to look like as well, I think that's a great tool that can help you with your alleviation of stress. 100.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to kind of like to round it up. I think that's an awesome way to round it up because I think there's not much that I don't want to give too much, you know what I mean, in terms of like overwhelming. I would rather people just to really understand and deep what was just said, because it seems simple. It's the simple shit that people don't get. It's the basics that people don't do right.
Yeah,
a good boxer is a boxer that does the basics right,
like you.
Hey, no cap.
No cap. Yo, buddy guy.
Yeah, right. No, but like.
It's true,
but it's true.
It's actually always the simple stuff. Like it's always the simple stuff.
It's the simple shit.
People always want complex stuff and they think it's got to be complex, but it's actually really simple. Like this whole game is simple. And when you can do simple things, it actually increases your likelihood of actually executing it and getting it done. 100%.
And just work on it every single day. Work on the way you see shit.
Yeah.
And just like actually work on it. Don't do it once and be like, oh, but I can't change my off the bat. Of course you can't. Work on it over time and try your best to be able to change your associations.
Yeah.
That's all that it is. You're just changing your association. This red means bad. That's the way that your brain is operating. It's like red means bad. Low money means sadness. Do you know what I mean? Like all your associations have a connection to it. So it's just about rewiring and putting those connections in different holes.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, but like,
that's crazy. That's crazy. Nah, but honestly, man, I think this is like I really enjoy this one. I think this is super valuable, and I think that like as always, I want you guys to be able to implement, act on it. Just take inventory on it. Just kind of like reflect, take the time, think what's going on, and that's what's going to be the game changer. So. As always, guys, what I would love for you guys to
like, comment, and share.
Damn it, man! What you give me the intro, that you take my outro? Crazy guy.
I gave you an intro.
Yeah, but now you took my outro. Well, that's it. You heard it there.
The people want what the people want.
Who told you they want that?
The comments.
All right, guys. It's been a pleasure speaking with you guys this week, and I'll see you guys next week on another episode of the Uncovered Podcast with Nick and Femi.
Check us out on Instagram at Nick and Femi and all those other places.
Website coming soon.
Dead set very soon.
Very soon.
Check us out because we're going to be talking about our program and what we're going to be putting in there. We got a free challenge that's actually coming out for the program as well, so you can come in.
Too.
So you guys can come in and check that out, and be a part of that. It's a lot of really good content. We spent a lot of yesterday filming that and filming the content for that. So we're really proud of that. You can come in, suss it out, see what this is all about. And we'll post that on our Facebook, our Instagram as well. Post it everywhere. We might even start posting on LinkedIn, man.
Yes.
We will. We will be posting on LinkedIn very, very soon. So thank you so much for being here. All love, all praise. Peace.